And we have one more plenary speaker this morning, this afternoon here in New York, that will be shared via video. And before I do that, let me just introduce her. This is Karla Cornejo Villavicencio. Karla is an Ecuadorian-American writer and the author of The Undocumented Americans, published in 2020. She has written about her experiences as an undocumented immigrant from Ecuador to the United States. In October 2020, her book was shortlisted for the National Book Award for Nonfiction. She graduated from Harvard in 2011 and believes she is one of the first undocumented immigrants to do so. As of September 2020, she's a PhD candidate in the American Studies program at Yale. And at this point, I'm going to share Karla's message with us sent via video. Okay, hopefully everybody sees the screen.
Hi, my name is Karla Cornejo Villavicencio. I am 31 years old. I grew up in Brooklyn and Queens. I currently live in Connecticut, but there's not much to be done about that. I have a Boston.
Okay, we're going to start again.
Hi, my name is Karla Cornejo Villavicencio. I am 31 years old. I grew up in Brooklyn and Queens. I currently live in Connecticut, but there's not much to be done about that. I have a Boston Terrier named Frankie. He is 4 years old. That's him. And I have borderline personality disorder, which is why I was invited to say a few words. First of all, I tell everyone I have BPD. Part of the reason why is because I'm an artist. So a lot of people are just like, she's eccentric. And I'm like, no, I have BPD. But I'm also eccentric. You know, I am allowed to both have a mental illness and a personality that is as strange as the world is strange. Not everything is mental illness, right? One thing that I learned very young, being a Latina, growing up in the hood, growing up poor, growing up undocumented, and discovering that I was queer, was that you should not allow people to read you to you, or to narrate you to you, to tell you what your own story is. Lots of people try to do that to me. Lots of people try to do that to people with our background, people who are women or people of color or disabled or mentally ill or queer, what have you. There are books, there are studies, there are narratives, there are Wikipedia entries that tell you what your odds are in all sorts of things. But only you know yourself, and only you know your family and your community, and only you know what your odds are going to be. And those change based on your behaviors. So I knew what my odds were as an undocumented person, to go to college, to do anything, growing up poor. And I didn't give a shit, you know? I just decided to do what made me happy.
Oh, I just did it.
And happiness was hard for me, for people with BPD. I just took things 15 minutes at a time. If something made me feel good, fulfilled for 15 minutes at a time, I pursued it. Writing was it. Making other people feel less pain was it. Making people respond to my writing in a positive way was it for a long time. And so I pursued it. And that got me to Harvard. That got me to Yale for my PhD. I started writing professionally when I was 15 years old. And to tell you the truth, it didn't have an end goal because I didn't think there was going to be a solution to me being undocumented. I knew there was something about me that was different, that I didn't have language for the diagnostic criteria that would eventually reveal itself to be BPD. But I just followed my heart. And I know that sounds corny, But I never let somebody tell me you can't go to college because you're undocumented, or you can't go to Harvard because you come from the hood, or you can't be a writer in English because English is not your native language. All of those things are fictitious. Is that a word? They're fiction. Everything is fiction. The limits that people put on people who have BPD are based on a very limited set of statistics. Like, you guys know that, right? The statistics, the data on people with BPD is limited. And it's not really based on a wide range of studies, because it's not very, very studied yet. And there's always going to be individuals that are part of any group. My point is, if you're someone who belongs to a group that has been called other, or that has been marginalized, you know what it's like to have scripts about you, stereotypes about you. You don't have to follow those. You don't have to believe in them. And you don't have to act those out. And I know there's temptation. I felt this temptation when I was diagnosed as bipolar initially. If someone gives you a script to act it out in some way because you're scared, my temptation was, if they told me I was crazy, I was going to act crazy. And so I rebelled in the opposite direction, which was to not try to heal, but to try to just prove how crazy I was. And that ended up harming myself primarily. My loved ones, yeah. But let's focus on myself right now. I think that I really started to heal once I realized that I valued myself as an individual, regardless of whatever labels other people put on me. And that I did not want to hurt. That hurting didn't make me special. That hurting didn't make me a better writer. It didn't make me a more interesting person. It didn't make me a more complex, a more deep person. That it just made me sad. And that's when I took DBT seriously. And I worked really hard on DBT. And I worked really hard on my favorite skills, which are opposite action. I really like paired muscle relaxation. Really like tip skills. And I like thinking about what my long-term goals are. And I like thinking about how to accomplish them without compromising my self-respect. So I want you to think about scripts today and what scripts people hand to you, not only about BPD, but about who you are and other aspects of your identity and how you want to handle those scripts. I think the most powerful thing is for us to not look at BPD as a villain or as a friend, not as an ailment or as a superpower. It just is. It's just a part of you. It's like my ear. I mean, I have some piercings. I've decorated it. I wear earrings on and off. But I don't really think about my ear. I am not my ear. My ear is a part of me. You know what I mean? I'm sober, by the way. Sobriety is also an important part of my journey. But don't let anybody define you. And also don't let anything define you. You're just a person. And you're allowed to define who you are along the way. So that's all I have to say today. And I wish you the best of luck on your journey.
I just want to thank Karla for that beautiful presentation. Another talk this morning about the theme of stories and scripts and being true to yourself and honoring who you are. So thank you to Amanda and Karla and Erin. A couple of announcements before we conclude our plenary session and get ready for the day. A couple of announcements. First is that we have 4 panels coming up consecutively this afternoon. Panel 5 is Managing Crisis Situations on the Path Toward Recovery. Panel 6 is Understanding BPD as a Disability and Daily Living. Panel 7 is Strategies for Self-Care and Managing Intense Emotions. And panel 8 is Portrayals of BPD in Pop Culture, TV, Books and Film, Voices for Hope and Recovery. And then we have a second plenary session later this afternoon on art for recovery, followed with a wrap-up on Emotions Matter, how to get involved, and acknowledgements. So we hope you can join us for what we have coming on this afternoon. You can go to the bar on the left side of your screen. You go to the agenda and the breakout sessions to pick which panel you want throughout the next 2 hours. Also, feel free to check out our expo where we have information from different sponsors and vendors. Go check out the auction. We have fabulous auction items. Our auction closes at 9 o'clock tonight. Be sure to check that out, make a donation, text to give, and support Emotions Matter so that we can continue doing the amazing, extraordinary work that we're doing around the country. Thank you so much. This concludes the plenary session, and we'll see you in our panels in a little bit. Take care now. Bye-bye.